Make sure you can hear us and this thing works well. Hello, anybody who's watching. What's up? Let me tweet this. Twitter.
You did go live?
Yes, I did. This is a random stream for random times.
Yeah, it works. I can hear you well.
Cool. Okay. And you sent it to me on Telegram, Johnny?
Say again?
You sent it to me on Telegram?
I did.
Perfect. Watch Frank come in. Hey Frank, if you're watching this.
Yo, Frank, my boy.
He could be watching, probably. He's like the one like on our newsletter that clicks on everything. Because you could tell. Alright, oh, we're live right there. We're at 9 viewers right now. Alright, hey guys! We're gonna do, if you caught last week's, where Drew, Johnny, and I just talked about some art and tied it to current times. We are going to be doing that again. So join us. Retweet. Perfect. And then, okay, you sent it to me on.
You got 18 people watching, so maybe
Hi.
start it up.
Yeah.
Johnny, we need you on set, man. Where latte?
Yeah. Let me grab mine. Okay. So let's do. Matt, if you join the StreamYard, can I send these pictures to you and then you put them up?
Yeah, I can fix it.
Okay. You're in Telegram, of course you are.
Let me get in there. Yeah.
What is your to the moon?
Yeah, I think so. Now I'm going to get doxxed. But...
Oh, here you are. 999.
I'm in there.
Wait, no. He sent it to me on Telegram directly, so I need to send it to you on Telegram directly. Or here, actually, I'll send it to Bitcoin Center Miami. Why not?
Where are you sending it?
Bitcoin Center Miami.
Please excuse me.
I know. Please excuse the tough and difficulties. We're just chilling here, doing stuff for fun.
You know you're sending them in the main channels.
Yeah. Shout out to our Telegram chat. If you're in our Telegram chat, Bitcoin Center Miami, you're the best. If you're not, you should join because there's a lot of funny conversations that happen in there. There's like, I don't know, like 500 people in there. All right, perfect. Thank you, sir. And then I'll just tell you which one to bring up. And then, oh, there's 31 people on here. Wow.
It's popping now. It's popping.
Hello.
Entertain the people.
Entertain the people. I don't know. Not that entertaining. Just kidding, I am. Hello, people. And I'm blocked. My legs are. Good job, Erica. I think we should sit closer together. All right, boys, are you ready?
Social distancing, 16.
Yeah. Okay, you can see the characters up top too.
Mm-hmm.
Let me grab my coffee. It says there's 31 people in there.
Yo, Drew, Johnny, got 31 people waiting. All right. Now they say when you're past 20,000 Twitter followers, you just keep them waiting in these lobbies.
That's true.
All right, man in the middle.
I'm just playing.
Yeah. Oh, you guys made some French press?
Yeah, do you want one?
No, I've got coffee, thank you. I don't like showing my body online, so I'm gonna scoot this way. So,
Is this,
Yeah, that's a rough angle on that camera there, Erica.
Is it an upwards angle?
If we keep it, it might help out with the viewership. So I want to keep that.
Okay.
Lovely.
Drew, say hi to your people. Hello, people.
What's up, everybody? Hope you're a Drew Tang at home follower. If you're not, you should be. Give me a follow. ASAP. All right. We ready, guys? Have we started? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It started.
We've got
all right,
some-
we are live.
Yeah. So I hope you guys can hear us. Thank you, everyone who's tuning in. Hopefully, this is interesting. If you caught us last week, we just looked over some digital art and talked about how it correlates to the digital age that we live in. I think that we had a lot of fun. We got a lot of good feedback, so just doing that again. And we're gonna go through some art. We are at the Bitcoin Center Miami right now, having some fun. Johnny painted this beautiful piece behind us, which, do you wanna start talking about this one, or this is a secret internal
That's
piece?
a secret internal piece.
Secret internal piece.
But you can glance and see
Yeah, here.
it's really all about teamwork and effort to get through.
Yeah, with a little help from my friends.
Yes.
We
But
have-
without getting too deep in it, because I know you guys really want to know what's going on, what Drew Tang and Erica got to say that's pertinent for you to help you through these trying times and help you achieve and not only prepare for what's coming up ahead, but thrive. Because 2020 is a time, because the world is changing,
yeah.
and we know that.
100%.
A lot of people are just sitting around with their feet stuck in the mud, terrified, don't know what to do, thinking that things are going to be the way they were, but they won't. They're going to be different. And we know that.
They're already preparing us for it, the new normal.
The new normal. So us, the people that are aware of what's going on, we got to look forward to sail, navigate through these stormy seas and excel and do better with what's coming ahead,
Definitely. Anytime that there's a great shaking like what's happening now, there are people that get really, really poor, but there are also people who get really, really rich. So I'm trying to be on that second part. So let's see. He has the art.
He does.
John, I sent it all to Matt. So let's
Which one do you want
pull
to
up
talk
some art and talk about it.
Sure.
The first thing that we are going to pull up is Donald and the Dark Web.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
No.
Coming soon.
Should we have sat closer to the camera?
Do you think so? We can.
Well, we could make that full screen, couldn't we?
Oh,
Like
wait.
zoom in on us, you're saying?
StreamYard? Yeah. Well, it would be easier to see the art, I think, from where we're sitting.
Oh yeah, I just so they wanted to see our faces.
Oh, here, let me grab
Because
the
really, well, yeah, it doesn't matter. Hey, there, live viewer. This is the artistic process as it happens. And I will continue to ramble as long as necessary. But I hope you find these words useful or at least entertaining. Anything to add, Drew?
Here you go. This has
Copy.
the pictures if you want to see them up close.
Oh, awesome. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Drew hasn't seen them.
He wants to be surprised. Should I make this higher?
I think,
If you want us to look at the camera, yeah.
No, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm just going to look at y'all.
Okay, cool.
The viewers are in on our conversation. I feel like,
Yeah.
Sweet.
so this is what we're going to talk about now. It's on the screen. If
No. Just get closer to you. It's okay. He's fine.
Should we introduce our fourth guest?
Oh, yeah. We have a fourth guest today. He's a cutie pie.
We got Bruno here.
Bruno's making his debut online.
So Bruno is the unofficial mascot of the Blockchain
He definitely
Center.
is, yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Bruno's very old. Doesn't make much noise.
Hi, Samir. What's up, dude? Come do some lawyer stuff.
All right, we got Donald.
All
Okay.
right, sweet.
All right. Well, the title of this painting is called "Donald Goes to the Dark Web," and I don't usually give a story to most of my paintings, but this one has a little bit of one. It's Donald was enraged with jealousy seeing his girl with another guy, so he went down to the dark web and using the private cryptocurrency Monero, he purchased weaponry and bio-augmentation technology to biohack himself so he could go get revenge and heal his broken heart.
Wow. What a tale. What a tale. I love that we got Monero there in the bottom left-hand corner. So everybody, I hope you, if you're not familiar with Monero, it's like the best privacy cryptocurrency in existence. So you can't be like tracked. We got some, I see, are these Ethereums in the background here?
Nodes.
Just nodes, okay, nodes on the dark web. Okay, good stuff. And then, yeah, the transhumanism of like the Terminator arm here and the spike leg. Yeah, definitely looks dangerous there. And I like the idea of using the dark web to buy weaponry too. That's a deep piece for sure.
So the first question I think is like, so he's clearly a cyborg anymore. He's not the same human, which is weird that they teach kids with like, all kids when they see these characters online and they're like animals, right? I always thought that was really weird.
Yeah, like
got a word for
the
that.
Sentient animals.
Anthropomorphized.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, they make them into human characteristics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, kind of, it also says a lot about us. That's how we see the world. We use ourself as the measure for everything else.
Yeah. No, that actually makes sense too. But the first question is, he's a cyborg / human, which honestly, the option for humans to become part cyborg is definitely been an option, but it's more and more now becoming an option. Would you guys personally, let's say that you got some chip implanted, right? And in this chip, you would, if you got this chip implanted, you would be like smarter, you would heal faster. Doctors would say there's some type of medical benefit to it. And then also that's how you would get paid when the government starts distributing money versus actually working for it right now. Would you get this chip?
Well, that's a big jump. That's like a huge.
No, but
yeah, no, but I believe you know, and you're on point.
Yeah.
No, I would not.
Yeah.
I would.
No, I'll have to show you some videos. Like it's actually very more people. Like I've seen videos of people getting chipped, especially in other nations. It's like normal. Like I couldn't tell
I think
you.
it's India has a very they're approaching the point where they'll be able to not only do they have like a national digital database of IDs, it's also it's via biometrics, so they could use fingerprint, our iris, but they also have that tied with their banking. So they're getting very close, and I think the Gates Foundation that's where they're working on stuff like that. This is like what you're talking about.
Well, I know a guy several years ago who voluntarily was a tech guy, had a hypodermic needle, like a big one, and shoved a RFID tube in it.
Yep.
I felt it, and I was like, "Why'd you do that?" He was like, "Thought it was cool." It was a tech guy, and he would just wave his hand in front of the door instead of like a key fob or a pass.
Yeah.
And it looked like Star Trek or something. He was just like would wave his hand in front of the door, and it would open.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the first step of it. Yeah.
I saw 2 videos last night because I like looking into this stuff, but I saw 2 videos last night of people getting chipped and it being like a huge celebration, and it was on the news and stuff like that. I'll have to show you guys after this. But no, definitely you're a hard no. Drew, would you get this chip?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
You would be partially cyborg at that point.
Well, I think more cyborg could be more of like getting new eyes instead of getting, fixing your eyesight from, 2080, which is, bad eyesight, to 2020. What if you could make your eyesight 2010? Better than human.
Yeah.
That's kind of where my head, but yours is part as well. It's all part of that same umbrella of technology and humans merging.
Yeah.
Some of it is that totalitarian. I mean, they'd all be connected, really.
Yeah, because like if you have the ability to have something in someone's chip, and then let's say they disobey, snap, they're dead.
Well, that brings a point. What if someone gets a prosthetic arm?
Yeah.
That now, that allows them to grasp and crush, a can or do whatever, live a more normal life, normalize their life. What if that could be controlled? I didn't really like when you say that. What if that is, oh yeah, you aren't obeying, we're going to turn off your arm.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that reminds me of when we talk about transhumanism, I think the leader in the industry right now, obviously, is Elon Musk. If anybody watched his most recent Joe Rogan, he talks about Neuralink, which he says would be ready for I think human testing within the year is what he was saying. But it essentially an implant and would connect your mind to a computer. So he's definitely the first person you think of when you think of what actual steps are being taken right now. And what's interesting is what you guys were talking about with, and the example here is turning your body into a weapon or getting implants like that. Elon Musk, and I believe it was May, he changed his profile picture for a week to the front cover of a video game made in the year 2000 called Deus Ex. And in that game, the protagonist is an augmented human. So he has had his body adapted to become more of a weapon. And that's basically the whole story arc of the game, is the various problems that augmented humans would cause within a population, what governmental and societal changes would happen as a result of that. So yeah, that's
the video game.
Yeah, 2000. I think it's for PlayStation, I think, or
Yeah.
it might have been a computer game. I'm not sure. But.
I read a book once. I can't remember the name, but the guy had a space to put it in an SD card.
Oh, sure.
He could add a language or remove a language. You only had so
Yeah.
much space of memory.
Yeah, so that's what would make people cyborgs if they get this.
Well, the question: what if someone has a pacemaker? Are they a part cyborg?
Yes, I'm just kidding.
I mean, kind of.
I mean, kind of, yeah, because
They need the machine to live.
Yeah, you don't know what else is in that pacemaker, too. It's you trust that there's nothing in there. You don't know.
Things being connected to the internet and the web are just their own kind of animal, of control. When somebody can if an external force can, work on your internal forces, your internal body. What if that was associated to a credit score? Your social credit score is.
Oh, I'm sure they're.
Which they're doing that in China. Social credit score. It's the new norm. So yeah, definitely the cyborg is interesting. And when did you paint this, Johnny?
I want to say last year, 2018, 2019.
You're just seeing that theme pop up so much more now. I have a girlfriend, she's a dear friend of mine. And I kind of asked her this question and she was like, well, I've had plastic surgery here and I've had plastic surgery here. So the idea of inserting things into my body to make me smarter or more appealing is something that I already do. So I probably would. I'm like, no, please don't get chipped. You're gonna die. The mark of the beast. That's what it is.
Yep. And Kanye West talked about it in his interview with Forbes. I believe that interview came out yesterday.
Wait, what happened?
He was interviewed by Forbes about his presidential run, and he talked about people wanting to put chips in us, and that's what he mentioned, and Mark of the Beast specifically. He said in the interview.
I like Kanye lately, but I'm a little. Anyways, what's interesting too is that I just recently learned this, but the Social Security numbers only started existing in 1936. So in 1913, you have the Federal Reserve created, you have the income tax created. IRS probably couldn't get all of their accounting for individual humans born in the United States together. So 1936, they create this 9-digit code that everyone has attached to their life. And now this is just that was the first step, but this is just the same thing, but a more technological innovation on tracking people. So we can't think that they would stop at just a social security number, which is interesting because a social security number is commonplace. People probably like it, prefer it, whatever, however, have no emotion about it. It's just a part of life. That's probably what chipping is going to become like.
Oh yeah, we could easily see that, I'm sure.
Just a side note, but similar, the Social Security, when it started, the average life expectancy, the retirement age is 65. You would collect Social Security at 65, and it was to help the elderly so they didn't have to live in fear.
Yeah.
But the average age of death in that year was 64 years old. So it was always kind of a gamble that you were going to die before you collected it.
Yeah.
So it's not a Ponzi scheme, but it's kind of it's not in your favor, and you may have realized recently they've been upping the age of Social Security.
Yeah.
It's now 67.
I think 65, yeah, but they could have moved it to 67.
I think 67 to collect full amount.
Oh, okay.
If you can collect it early.
Yeah. Which makes sense. I mean, Social Security, and I've had a lot of people in government tell me, and they're actually, they're very realistic people, say Social Security was bankrupt the day that it started, and I'm not surprised.
No, Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. You're getting future people to pay for the past entrants.
Yeah.
So
Boomers definitely enrich themselves or they were complacent in the enriching of themselves. Like I hate it. There's anyways.
No.
Next.
Next picture, sir.
Wait, no, hold on. I still want to talk about this one a little bit because what's interesting is that you have a man fighting over a woman, and now he's going to all ends of the earth to fight over a woman. Women are the greatest beings on this earth, I must say so myself, but we also cause a lot of problems.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, the Trojan War was started, over Helen of Troy.
Exactly.
A face that could launch 1,000 ships. But that being said, women have caused all the problems that humanity suffered.
Oh my God.
But they're also
not all of them.
No, but women, no, they actually are also the cause of a lot of great art.
Yeah.
I mean, inspiration, the muse.
Inspiration, yeah. Women are the inspiration of a lot of things, for sure.
And, even back in the whatever quote unquote patriarchy, there was often a woman telling this guy what to do. She's standing behind him.
Yeah.
Well, she could have had he's a sock puppet.
Yeah.
I mean, strong women have always existed.
That one. We're gonna talk about that one.
Oh, really? Is that on
this
there?
one?
This one.
Even like nowadays, right? Maxwell just got freaking. She was the mastermind.
She's a powerful woman.
Yeah, and then you think about one of the big kingpins that kept Miami's drug scene up was a woman.
Sure.
Yeah, and so it's like, yeah, women are not underrepresented.
Look,
Okay.
I don't think any male,
We
despite
just
how
let men do our bidding for us.
no women
All I'm saying.
men that know have never been under illusion that women are weaker or not in charge.
Yeah.
Men have always. I mean, yeah, we'll kind of joke around, but I'm older. I have gray hair. I'm in my 40s. I've worked lots of jobs. And there might not have been a woman at the very top of a corporation, but there was always a woman high up above on the ladder, bonk me right on top of my head. So I don't know what anybody's talking about.
Definitely. I'm leading this the whale behind. If you can see the art up there, that's me because I'm a woman and we're the best. But definitely women, the contention. Yeah, the contention between males and females have definitely caused a lot of good, a lot of bad. I think a lot of innovation has always been men trying to impress women too.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, for sure.
Like, what would you guys do if there were no women around? Like, who do you have to impress?
I'd have a beard this long. Yeah, I don't know. No, it's a good point. And to clarify, you brought this topic up.
Yeah.
So you said men for women. I would actually add a lot of innovation and problems and conflicts have been women against other women.
Interesting. That's true.
I'm no sociologist, but I had lots of, I had sister, I had cousins. And, you see women, and I've been in places when you get a certain amount of women together, teams form.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely.
Interesting dynamics for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. The people who are generally like very rude to me are other women, and that sucks because it's very hard to find really good girlfriends who want best for you. They're not going to hate on you behind your back or say weird sly things in front of your face just to put you down. Like, it's very, very strange. There is absolutely a lot of times where people will think that the struggle between people is racial, is socioeconomic, they'll blame it on something else, but in reality, it's just natural competition between people of the same sexes. So.
Well, we talk about this for a second because there's often talk about, diversified teams be, single gender teams.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. They've done a lot and repeated the test. But the way it works is a team of girls versus a team of guys. In general, the team of guys would win.
Mm-hmm.
A team of girls and guys versus a team of guys, the girls would win depending on the ratio.
Mm-hmm.
If it was 50-50 girls and guys on the team, they wouldn't generally win.
Yeah.
There's a golden ratio, and it was like one girl for every 3 or 4 guys was like the perfect ratio for a lot of successful teams. And that's what some studies came up with.
Yeah, that makes sense. That would make sense because I like being the boss, but there can't be. Yeah, that makes sense. It definitely makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff we can talk about on another stream. Have there been any questions or comments yet?
I know, any hate being thrown our way?
No, just Ty saying it's a new Pokemon saga.
And Samir. Very cool.
Nice,
Awesome.
nice.
Okay,
All right, so second picture.
second picture, yeah.
What's the next one?
It is the winter of PC, which this last conversation that we had was probably not PC.
Not at all.
It was not PC at all. I feel a little bad. And I would love to discuss this out length because I hope we don't get in trouble from people that don't understand us and are going to just say
Hey, that's what we started off the podcast by saying. These are we have different perspectives outside the normal. So I think it's perfectly in theme with the rest of the stream here. So
What's unscripted?
And
we're just
chit chatting, yeah.
And that's exactly the purpose of this next picture here. Going into it, it's titled "The Winter of PC." And just my initial take on it, I can see that everybody's wearing masks out in public. This was, when did you make this, Johnny?
I started it in 2003, and then I finished it in 2016.
Oh, wow. 2015, this man's already predicting people wearing masks in public.
2003.
Yeah, holy cow. But I can see, I think it's because the idea is that with political correctness, you can't fully express yourself and you always have to worry about how other people perceive what you're saying instead of actually worrying about getting your message across as accurately as possible. And it leads you to creating a fake persona for the rest of the world. And I think that was what we were just talking about as we transitioned into this picture, is that our previous conversation was so outside of what normal people or rather what we see in pop culture and what is acceptable in the mainstream media to talk about. We just broke that. So we were worried about the social consequences.
Yeah.
If we would have been wearing masks like these people, we would have all stayed safe. And I think, beautiful piece, Johnny. Amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool. Can I see?
Yeah.
Close? No, it's very interesting that you saw this coming.
Yeah, 2003.
Yeah.
Was the theme of it always the same? Did you always keep the same thing?
I applied, I came back to it 10 years later. It's oil paint. I usually paint in acrylic, but this one is oil, and oil takes a long time to dry, so I painted lots of layers, and I didn't really like the color, so I came back a year later and added more color, more thin layers of color, and the light kind of goes, I'm getting into the techniques of painting, but it took time, not just because of the concept took a while, but the painting takes a while, because those are the colors. It's a rich red, and that comes through lots of thin layers of paint, that the light goes through each layer of paint, hits the white canvas and bounces back through each layer of thin red. And it kind of gets richer than one thick layer of red. It has a different optic effect. But that being said, no, I was kind of aware that, I think Shakespeare once said, all the world's a stage and all the men and women are merely players, actors, and we all put on a persona. Everyone in that picture has a mask except one.
Yeah. The kid?
The child, yes.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I thought it was because kids can't get coronavirus, so it doesn't. You're already calling it out.
And then in the back, there's some animals. There's a lot going on.
Red. Okay, it was the tables and stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So there's a couple of dogs in the back, if you see in the upper left corner.
Yeah.
And they're being held back.
Yeah.
Like the animal instinct.
Yeah. Wow. The blood red sky as well. And you have this.
Yes, I have every figure has a meaning.
Has a meaning for sure. I mean, you definitely see people having to hide behind what they really think. This is why they say that, what is it, closet, or what is that phrase? The silent majority.
The silent majority.
Yeah. Everybody is behind the scenes. What they really think, you're not allowed to say anymore, because then you're going to get canceled by cancel culture. You guys want to talk about your dream?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So after our last stream that all three of us did together, me and Johnny were hanging out the next day, and Johnny goes, "Yo, you'll never guess what I dreamed about." I dreamed that I got canceled. Everybody was tearing me a new one on the internet, and I got canceled. And I actually also had that same dream that night. So
What was your dream like though?
mine, I don't remember exactly what it was, but yeah, it was just like some tweet like exposed Drew Tang. I was like, oh no, but yeah, so yeah, no, it's definitely if you're an online persona and any kind of public figure in any way, it's like a constant fear.
Yeah.
So it's it's really interesting, especially right now, super weaponized. You could get canceled at any second.
Yeah, mine was like another level of that. In my dream, I remember I had liked a post on Twitter, but below it, someone had replied, said, "Oh no, Johnny," and then all these people agreed with him that I'd liked the wrong thing, and that's why I got canceled. I had merely liked the wrong thing, because Twitter tells your followers what you like and dislike, or don't what you like. So
Wow.
that says a lot,
Definitely says a lot. I didn't have any of those dreams. But
Good.
Yeah.
But you need to get back on Instagram.
I know. Oh yeah, my Instagram's deleted right now. I thought it was because I just post, I feel like kind of intelligent stuff that make people think, but without being too forward about what I think. But I got canceled along with a bunch of other girls, so it wasn't because of that. It was something else.
No, but it's funny, the silent majority you mentioned.
Yeah.
I talked to, friends that, old friends I hadn't talked to in a while, every couple of weeks. And I talked to a friend and I was like, tell him what I was thinking. He's like, oh man, I don't talk to anybody about this. He's like, I don't get online. I don't get on Facebook. And I've heard this from several people. They're just scared to express their opinion, and it's a silent majority.
Yeah.
And people are terrified. People are losing their jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, if you go against the official story, you are labeled alt-right and you are losing your job. And what's great is when you find people who do agree with you, they automatically are like, yes, you are my people. And they're willing to work with you because they're like, you agree with me. But some people are just afraid to say it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And Sense is also showing a growing divide.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lack of communication. I think a lot of people think this is normal because no one is expressing an alternate view. And I'm not even talking like alt-right, just like anything but one thought.
Exactly. Anything but one thought. Even if you're like a little bit disagreeing with it, they will just say you're alt-right. It's so weird.
They're canceling people that died 70 years ago.
Or hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
Tearing down statues and stuff. Yeah.
I heard somebody was trying to cancel George Orwell today. Was like big, saying just try like how bad he was. He was pro-fascist, actually the biggest beef they had with him was he's anti-communist and we shouldn't read him because of Animal Farm. And it's the puppy's just walking by the coffee. But not to dwell too much on cancel culture, but after that dream, I feel a lot better about having multiple sources of income. I think everyone, if you really want to be free, you have your liberty.
Yeah.
You have to not
worry about money.
Yeah, and not from we'll always have to work, but
Yeah.
not one source, not one place can just stop you completely. And, because if you can't feed yourself or feed your kids, you're a slave. I mean, you'll do whatever, if you're, to keep your food on the table.
That's very true.
So, I think everyone should have started their own business, a side business. Keep your day job. Have your side hustles. Invest.
Yeah.
It's definitely a good idea.
Yeah, you're right, because I asked a question today. Should we, and I tried to make it as removed from people's individual feelings as possible, but I said, should the enforcers on Hunger Games get a pardon, right? They're the people in the white suits that enforced everything that these evil people at the top wanted. And you see that to modern times where it's like, put your mask on, cover your nose is not covered. It's like, dude, do you want me to die? That's how I feel. But should those people that are enforcing these rules, should they get in trouble? Should we say, oh, they're just following their boss, whatever? I mean, should they?
What's really funny about that is Johnny was just telling me earlier that he got yelled at by a security guard for not having his mask on, but the guy himself wasn't wearing a mask. And when Johnny said that, he said, hey, you're not even wearing the mask. He goes, it doesn't matter. So it's interesting to see instances like that where it's so much more about, it's not necessarily about the safety, the scientific safety behind masks, you know, whether or not it really, like a little homemade cloth mask can really prevent transmission of coronavirus, or, you know, even, it's not really even about that for other people. They're not trying necessarily concerned about health or safety. That security guard just wanted to have a power trip and take power over someone else.
Yeah.
And he showed that by not wearing the mask himself. So, interesting. I think that was slightly different than your question, though.
No, it makes sense.
And I think that's an interesting point, because it applies, you know, like, oh, we were just following orders.
Yeah.
Like, the most frequent time you hear that is when people are talking about, like, the Nazis, like, should each individual Nazi be, like, tried and imprisoned or whatever, even though they were just following orders. It's interesting that people are much more, they're like, yes, absolutely, prosecute that, the Nazi, even though he's like 80 years old now, and it was years and years ago, he like raised a whole family, whatever. Definitely prosecute him. But then in other instances, you know, if they were alive in that time, I think that's a big disconnect, is people think that the Nazis rose up because they were a far right group and they just strong armed their way into government. When in reality, like, it was, they controlled the media after the Reichstag fire decrees, and they were able to basically create a cult of personality, use propaganda, the techniques of Edward Bernays, and they made it popular to be a Nazi. And anybody who didn't support the Nazi, they were the outsiders. And those people got ostracized. So it wasn't like what people today think of, you know, oh, we're censoring just the Nazis or whatever. It was always the Nazis who were the ones censoring other people. It wasn't the other way around. And that's how you end up becoming what you hate when you try and fight things on that level. And I think that's kind of evident in like the whole Antifa, especially, you know, the whole group's not violent, obviously, but the elements of it that are violent and do justify their violence against other people by saying that their political ideology is dangerous. So me harming them physically is righteous. I think they're actually acting much more like fascists than the people they're fighting against. So interesting.
Well, you know what I would take from what you're saying with the security guard, and the history lesson is cool and it's a good parable, but I think moving forward could take it to, this is more about compliance.
Yeah.
Like they did, like you said, it's not about the health, safety, especially in certain areas. So yeah, maybe it's in the hospital or in the ambulance, you know, there are places, but you know, the food court of this empty downtown
That's
Miami.
dirty.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, well, that roach ain't got a mask on, you know, but outside of that, you know, really, it's about compliance. Like what Drew was saying. So, you know, like when they drop totalitarianism on you or any kind of, you know, control of someone, you just don't like throw everything at them at once. It's inch by inch. So you're filling up the bucket drop by drop. So you develop this normalization of compliance, normalization of, oh, you don't have those rights, normalization of, you know, wear your mask, normalization of people would stop and tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Your normalization that the cop can just stop you for any reason. Normalization that someone can like tear down, you know, public parks, you know, public stuff, and it's okay. You know, things are getting normalized and we're taking it in and it's already affected all of us.
Yeah.
We're already like, and it's really, that's kind of been the shocking thing to me for this, you know, I'll say the COVID 2020 event is the compliance of, you know, like this.
Everyone.
Yeah. And people begging for it and the compliance coming from what you said, like shaming.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, like shaming, like other people looking at, like that's the weapon.
Yeah.
The weapon is your neighbor. And that's what we, you know, I don't want to get too riled up, but you know, like I'm thinking out loud, you know, like they are using us, divide and conquer, I believe you said last week. And it's a complete divide and conquer.
Yeah.
If by any means necessary. And I think that's why, like, for instance, anytime I go on Instagram now for the last 3 or 4 weeks, all I see on all these people's stories is either mass shaming
Yeah.
or some other, shaming people, like the saying silence is violence. So they're first of all, that's freedom of speech that just completely flies in the face of it. And secondly, telling people that if you don't support if they don't vocally support exactly what you want them to, then you're committing violence against somebody else. That is extremely dangerous, and that's how mind control works.
Yeah.
Super, super scary, like going on Instagram, just seeing what the normies are posting these days. It's just 100%, just I can see a lot of aggression in their own lives that they're projecting, because the news, you're not supposed to hate anybody, or, there's no outlet for that aggression, especially with sports, being, canceled for the whole year. So people have to find mainstream media approved sources, or rather scapegoats, to hate for all their lives' problems. And that's always, again, to go back to the Nazis, that's exactly what they did. They gave their Nazi German people, they gave them the Jewish people as a scapegoat. And they used that to help take power and take people's rights away from them. And of course, that's another huge divide and conquer tactic. So.
That happens. Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say that happens all the time. When you have internal problems, you make an external enemy.
Mhm.
So
Personal accountability is very, very hard for people to do.
yeah, absolutely, and they do it on a national level.
Yeah, exactly.
As the internal politics get bad, they'll absolutely start a war with another country, like a controlled war, and the other country will benefit as well, because we're divided, but we'll rally around the king, or rally around the flag, as they say. But I'm interested in what you're saying about internal sovereignty.
I think, the biggest problems I feel like in the world right now, if I'm like, hey, let's fix one thing, that it's a problem that each person individually can fix if they just understood the message that most, I'm going to say 95 plus, every problem in your life is self-inflicted, because even if a problem does come up, what matters is how you respond to it. So if people took that accountability, if people took personal accountability for where their life is right now, then and did not blame other people, then I think you would just see society improve as a whole. And people right now are trying to change things on a grand scale, where it's like, they're trying to defund the police, they're trying to do all these crazy things that are like, let's force other people to be more moral. Mm-hmm. When in reality, you should just be more moral yourself, and that's how you're going to see the world change. But right now, it's like there's too much trust in government, because people are like, let's pass laws to make people be more moral. Mm-hmm. Instead of, how about let's talk to, we're going to show a picture, but let's target Hollywood. Why are they teaching us such bad messages from when we're kids, mm-hmm. right? And so, anyways, I think that is one of the major problems of the world right now, is that it's just so much easier to blame other people than to take it on yourself and change things. And the second thing that you guys mentioned too was just like, all of these people that now maybe have a little bit of power are power tripping. And this is the problem with cops. Like, I don't think any three of us, or anybody really, does not say that police brutality is an issue. Police are too aggressive. They need to get their shit together. They need to be put in check, right?
Yeah, more consequences and more enforcement internally, not just letting off your friends for, even though they're committing horrible crimes,
Yeah, police definitely need to be in check more, and police also come under this problem of of power tripping. They get a little bit of power and they take it all in. Now, we're going to see this problem on a mass scale, because now you're a person in a restaurant and you have to tell people to wear their mask, and you have a little bit of power, a little bit of control over them, and you're going to enforce it. So definitely, I think if there's a second world problem that could be solved, it would be people to understand, I guess it's the same as the first, but you have control over your body only. Don't think you have control over what somebody else does.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah. All right, do we have a third picture?
Wait, what time is it, Matt?
15-minute warning.
Okay, what time is it?
5:45.
45, okay. And we should probably, Rizzy, do one more picture, but we'll do it in 5 minutes.
Sure, perfect. Speed round, everybody.
It's either going to be Portrait of an Urban Mystic or Mickey Goes to Hollywood. Let's do Hollywood, since we...
Well, we can. Do you know All right.
Yeah.
That was the
Mickey.
one that was like bloaty.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mickey Mouse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite.
Mickey goes to Hollywood, and to our point of Hollywood being more to blame than politicians, because if you ask me, Hollywood is the enforcer. They are the enforcer of the ideas.
I would say they are in Orwell's Animal Farm. They have the pigs, and the pig was like, well, there was one pig that had like a cute little tail that wag it around, and he could talk to the others and convince them of ideas.
Yeah.
I think Hollywood is the propaganda arm. I mean,
Yeah,
If
no,
we're-
it
yeah,
100% is, and it's interesting that we're pulling up Mickey Mouse because Disney had plenty of CIA contacts. Not only did Disney sign on to a group of filmmakers whose goal it was to raise the morale of the American public during World War II, but he also all of Disneyland in Florida. Is Disneyland in Florida?
Disney World.
Disney World.
Disney World.
Disney World. All of Disney World, he got, Walt Disney was helped by a CIA agent to secure all that land.
Exactly.
So yeah, 100%. The CIA, again, they work with Edward Bernays, the same guy who came up with the propaganda tactics that Hitler used in the Third Reich. He helped the CIA run a coup of Guatemala.
And you have
So, yeah.
to, like, I always wondered how Hollywood movies got their funding. But regardless, when you look into anything and you want to see, is this valid? Is this a source of information that I should use and consider truth? You have to follow the money, right? And when you look into just like mainstream television, which is an extension of Hollywood, you're going to see that, for example, on the news, if I ask you what are the most commercials about? Like, what would you guys say? If you're watching a news channel, you probably.
I haven't watched. I haven't had TV
I'll tell
in
you.
years.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's these pharmaceutical companies pumping their pills, right? Like, take this pill to make you feel better. Take this to make you feel better. So there's just a statistic Del Bigtree says, and he says 50 to 70% of the commercials are these pharmaceutical companies. Therefore, 50 to 70% of the people that are funding the news are pharmaceutical companies, which is why it doesn't matter what mainstream news network you go to, nothing on the television is going to tell you that vaccines have a possibility of being bad for you. And they're not going to tell you about the cases that where the FDA and the CDC have been sued and lost in court for millions, because then they would be cutting themselves off from their funding. So you always definitely have to follow the money. And Hollywood is one of those things where it's like, look at the top people. We have that fat guy.
Oh, what, Weinstein?
Weinstein, yeah. Like
Weinstein and all kinds of nasty stuff. NXIVM, which is another nasty sex cult that was caught, taken down in New York. But they used Allison Mack, who was a Hollywood actress. They used her personality to help them recruit women into their cult. So
Smallville.
yeah, Smallville. Yeah,
I never liked her.
Well, you know, on a side note, outside of the money and the pills, the thing really Hollywood does is it programs a mass programming for the future. Hollywood television, like you see public policy, like government policy being changed based on Hollywood. You know, like programming, what do we want? Oh, it can't pass, let's shove it. You know, keep giving it on all the shows, all the sitcoms, all the Marvel movies, until it is now the new reality.
Yeah.
We're going to force this on. It's like one point of view, you know, like they're erasing guns from old Bugs Bunny cartoons. I'm not sure if Elmer Fudd. I don't know if you ever watched Bugs Bunny. Elmer Fudd. Hunter had a gun. Yosemite Sam had a little pistol. They're getting rid of those because, and that's just a small example, but you know, I don't want to go too deep in this, but we all know,
And then even like think about how many Hollywood movies people have seen that include us having a chip, us having like that one movie where the time rolls down and they beat people up and you steal their time from them and it's like a time thing in your arm. Mm-hmm. Think about the movies where they have to get a shot every single morning and there's chips implanted into these people, and then the only way he can get around it is like, I think he had somebody bite his apple instead of getting the shot. I don't know movie names. But you're right, like everything, Hollywood actually tells you the truth and the news actually lies, right? So Hollywood tells you this is what's coming. I mean, definitely The people are watching like V for Vendetta. Look at all of the correlation between The Simpsons, Family Guy, like what actually happens in real life, and they say it years in advance.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I just wrote a thread about predictive programming, which is on this subject, and yeah, no, there's a lot of things you could look at major historical events that were in movies just two years before. And it's definitely, especially this year, like V for Vendetta.
Yeah.
There's like a couple of different sources on like what year it was actually set in. On Wikipedia, it says it's in 2020. And again, that movie, for people who don't know, is about a big like masked rebellion. And then there's other ones like Purge election year. I mean, that one, there was even a lot of people, like there was people spreading rumors that there was like going to be a purge on July 4th or something like that. So yeah, no, it's these ideas they're subtly suggested in all these movies, and it's kind of like, you know, you don't notice it at the time, but then if you look at them and you're looking for common themes, then it's kind of easy to see it. Another one in that same series, V for Vendetta, a Purge election year, and then there's Dark Knight Rises. And all three of those are about masked people. They talk about masks, both the good guys and the bad guys in Batman. They have multiple quotes about masks. Like Batman literally says, "The mask isn't to protect you; it's to protect the ones you love." That's like a direct quote from that movie. And all three of them are about revolutions, the common people rising up against the police and the government, which we saw that happen. Multiple times this year. So
yeah,
interesting stuff.
Definitely. I mean, and the way that TV works is just taking advantage of the relationship between your subconscious and your conscious mind. The subconscious mind pulls in so much more information than the conscious mind. So if your subconscious is already entertained that this certain event has happened, it's already entertained a pre-programmed response to it, then your conscious mind comes into the forefront when it actually happens and says, this is how we're supposed to respond. So I'm not saying movies are a bad thing. I personally don't watch them, but when you watch them, don't sit back and entertain, like let them entertain you. Make sure you're like an active watcher and you're analyzing like what's going on.
Well, you know, I love film and I will watch film, but I would say, like she said, be aware.
Yeah.
It is a tool of propaganda, and it can be. So, and like Drew said, once you notice, it's hard to stop noticing. I would recommend the classics. If you really, want to not be programmed, there's some great stories, great films out there that are just great art. But yeah, on the day-to-day, you get programmed, you get lulled. They've gotten films are very advanced now.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they use music, they lull you into a state, and then, you're getting programmed.
Yeah.
Words are getting subtly said.
Yeah.
And one other kind of point to mention is, if you want to know how powerful it is, if you've ever seen a kid watching a movie and you turn off the TV, they go like a rabid animal. Like, we're out, because you pull them out of state, you pull them out of the trance, and it's almost violent feeling for them, because they're like, you get what I'm saying? It's a very powerful tool.
Yeah, and again, another interesting, on that same note is like how, if you see little kids watching movies afterwards, like how obsessed they can get about, a various film or, like Beanie Babies, like how quickly kids can get completely obsessed and programmed by something is, it's an interesting concept. And, traditionally for propaganda campaigns, the youth was always targeted because if you can get to the young, then you can program them against their parents. And that's, that was what the Nazi youth was all about. So,
crazy.
Yeah.
A lot of predictive programming. Our producer here, Matthew Vano, is wrapping us up. We do have to go because I have another live stream at 6. I hope you guys join it. It's about permissionless versus permission blockchain. We're going to pit some people against each other and see who can win. Obviously, you probably know what side I am on, but I don't have to say that because I'll be moderating the argument. So any closing thoughts, guys, before we bounce off?
No, I think we got everything.
It's been great. Yeah, no, follow Drew at
Drew Tang at home on Twitter.
And I'm at Johnny Dollar Art.
and Bake of Erica. Can't follow me on Instagram though because they deleted me, and Twitter actually deleted me for 24 hours too, so that was interesting.
Well, if she's still on there, make sure to follow.
Exactly. All right, thank you guys for joining, and hope you join at 6 and 7 because we have 2 other things. And when the 3 of us are back together, we will definitely be doing something like this. We can also do it via online because we live in a virtual world.
We'll do it live and take some questions from the audience.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right.